Condos suck as investment properties, and let me tell you why, because it may be an unpopular opinion, but I think it might be pretty popular actually. All right, I have a list right here, and number one is high association fees. Now we're looking anywhere from like $200 to $400 a month for a condo association fee. Now, in my view, that's money that can be put towards your house, each payment. So instead of buying a condo, you can buy a slightly more expensive house, and that money, instead of going to the association, will actually go towards your your equity. Now, yes, that $300 will average out is going towards grounds maintenance, pool maintenance, and maybe there's like a gate, a guard, maybe there's some level of insurance covering your property for that price point. I'm not a fan of that. So I would rather just have a house or something with a smaller HOA fee that I feel like isn't cutting into my monthly. Number two, HOAs are much slower to appreciate. Now they will, but they're typically the very last thing to appreciate. First, you have, I think in Tampa actually we have multifamily appreciates pretty quick. It almost kind of keeps up with the rents and even surpasses rents sometimes. And we have houses, and then we have townhomes, and then we have condos. Condos are the last thing to go up in price, and we saw that play out even just last year. And now they're also, they're kind of slowing down. Like they're just, ugh. All right, number three. The HOAs are restrictive. So depending on which HOA you're in, and there's a large majority of them that do not allow rentals, or you have to own the property for 1 to 2 years before you're even eligible to start renting, or there's a list of how many are allowed to be rented at any given time. So maybe there's only allowed to be 20% of the units in the entire association can be rented out. Maybe they're already capped out and you're on a waiting list. That would be awful. Number four, you're at risk of special assessments that could happen at any time. Now, when you're buying the condo up front, you're going to know, you would ask the HOA, really, the management company, what are any upcoming special assessments and what are the last ones that have been done and this many years ago, because you want to know what has been done, what is how often things are being done, and then what is kind of projected to be done. Now, it depends, of course, as well, how old is the entire structure of the building. If it's newer, there's going to be few, but they'll be in the future. If it's older and there's been a ton of stuff done, you may be in the clear for a while, but you just never know. Number five, we have a butt ton of apartments being built around Tampa. It's kind of unbelievable. There's hundreds here, there's hundreds there, there's hundreds popping up all over the place. And these are just like, when I say hundreds, I mean there's like, communities popping up with hundreds within that one community. So there's like they're all over the place. And eventually they're going to be condoed off into separate condos, but they're no different than your condo. There are apartments being managed by one person as opposed to a condo being rented off by an individual landlord, but it's still the same thing. It's still a small unit in a big building, no front yard, no backyard, that type of thing. So you do have to be careful about market saturation when it comes to those, that type of target renter, how many options they're going to have. Number six, we have financing hurdles. And this is a big one because if you're a cash buyer, you're going to have no problems buying any condo that you want. Now, if you're financing, that's where things can get tricky. And this is kind of the annoying part of condos, really, because not every condo association has been properly managed financially. And so lenders are going to ask for a questionnaire, and it really depends on what that association, what their financials look like, and if they're even lendable or financeable. So, and then two, if your condo is less than $100,000, you may have trouble finding a lender who will lend you less than $100,000. Because I've seen some that had that's their limit. They won't lend anything less than $100,000. So keep that in mind. Number seven, leasing restrictions. And I kind of touched on this previously, but actually this is a separate one because there are some HOAs that have leasing approval processes. I've seen some of these take 30 days to approve separately after you've already approved your applicant and they're good to go. They're the perfect tenant. they still have to be processed by the HOA and approved by them. Now, yes, most of the time they'll do this in about 7 days, but I've actually seen several that do 14, and one terrible HOA that did 30. So, but they also, many HOAs in these condo associations will have pet restrictions. So keep in mind, Tampa's a very big pet city. We like to have pretty much as few restrictions on pets as possible, because you never know, like, for one, people are going to come in with their their ESA animal, their doctor's note on this is an emotional support dog, emotional support wolf hybrid pit bull. But the HOA in these condos, they may have breed and size restrictions. So nothing, maybe you can't have more than one dog or one cat. Maybe that dog has to be 30 pounds or less or whatever. And so that really restricts how, what tenants are even able to live there in the first place. Number 8, and this is coming from a tenant's perspective and somebody who, of course, I lived in a condo before. Less privacy and noise. There's just so much noise sometimes in these condo associations. You never know if your building has been soundproofed between each unit. There have been times where I've been woken up, and I was much younger, when I thought sleep wasn't more important, but now that I have 2 kids, I know sleep is more important now. Anyway, you get waken up in the middle of the night by that thump, thump, thump music, and that's like the last thing you want to hear at 3 a.m. right? A drug deal going down too. But noise issues, and you just have less privacy. You don't have a yard. You don't have, everybody can kind of hear sometimes in between if the TV's too loud, or you have a surround sound in there and you can't even use it because it's too loud. It's just kind of annoying from the tenant's perspective. Number 9 is depending on the HOA to get things done, because if you have a ton of potholes in the road around the HOA, they're the ones that have got to do it, and they're not always in the financial ability or just as responsible and reliable to get stuff done that needs to be done. So, it's kind of a weak point. I get it, but relying on the HOA to do what they got to do, and this is actually what a lot of people are happy about. They're like, oh, I want to get a rental in a condo because they're going to help keep an eye on my tenant. No, they're not going to do that. I mean, they'll nag on them when they don't follow the rules, but they're not going to actually help you maintain your unit and keep an eye on them for you. I think there's a little bit of a disconnect there. And number 10, the final one, market volatility. HOA condos are the very last property type to go up in value. So we saw this play out just 18 months ago through that big boom. We had houses go up and duplexes almost at the same time. And then pretty quickly after that, we had townhomes, and then we had condos. And we saw condos kind of go up like over the course of like 3 months, it seemed like, and then that was it. But they were the very last thing to go up. They didn't go up as much typically as the houses did. They were the last thing, and they've already kind of weakened out quite a bit. So not a huge fan of those. And when you go to sell in 10 years, it's just a hassle, because as we talked about on some of the other points, finding a buyer who can meet all these criteria. I'm selling a few condos right now, actually, a handful of them, and they're all the buyer pool is just not quite there, not like a single family or a duplex. So condos are going to be the last thing to go up, and they're going to be the first thing to plummet in value when things start getting bad. Anyway, that's it for this video. I hope you found those 10 reasons why I hate condos valuable or insightful. Please drop a comment below if you think that I'm completely wrong, don't know what I'm talking about. Still, you can like and subscribe to show me how wrong I am. And thanks for watching. Bye.